You know them. They're one of the most famous families on the planet, an empire built right in front of our eyes. But according to some really shocking theories online, behind all the billion-dollar brands and the reality TV drama, there's a much, much darker story, one that might just redefine how we think about modern fame. In this explainer, we're going to dig into the alleged secrets of the Kardashian dynasty. And it all really boils down to this one huge, provocative question that has fueled just countless online discussions. Did the matriarch of the family, Kris Jenner, strategically orchestrate every scandal, every relationship, and every opportunity to build her empire, no matter what it cost her own children? So, let's get into the story that's been pieced together. Now, it is really important to say this up front. What you're about to hear is not confirmed fact. It's a collection of theories and allegations that have been pulled from all sorts of online sources. This is the narrative that they present. To really get this empire, you have to start with the architect, right? Kris Jenner. She grew up in a pretty typical American family until her parents divorced when she was 7. Her mom was left to raise 2 daughters all on her own, and she reportedly gave Kris one single piece of advice that would basically become her life's mission: find and marry a rich man. And boy, did Kris take that advice to heart. After high school, she was actually engaged to a professional golfer, Cesar Zondiga. But as you can see here, her path took a very sharp turn when she met Robert Kardashian, who was this hugely successful lawyer. The story goes that the second Kris saw his Beverly Hills mansion and his Rolls Royce, that engagement to the golfer was history. She had found her ticket. And for a while, the plan worked. Kris lived this life of incredible luxury. She had 4 kids, Kourtney, Kim, Khloe, and Rob Jr., and was surrounded by celebrities. But then she hits age 30, and she starts to get restless. She felt like her best years were just being spent as a housewife, and so she began an affair with a much younger soccer player, Todd Waterman. And that affair, it's what ultimately blew up her marriage to Robert Kardashian. But here's the thing. The end of her marriage, that was just the beginning of a public drama that would tear her family apart and, weirdly enough, lay the groundwork for their future fame. And this brings us to one of the most televised events in American history, the O.J. Simpson trial. This timeline just lays it all out, and it's a tragedy. Kris's best friend, Nicole, is murdered. Then her ex-husband, Robert, joins the legal team to defend the main suspect, O.J. Simpson, who was also his best friend. Kris was totally convinced O.J. was guilty. Robert believed he was innocent. The trial split the entire country, and it absolutely split their family. After O.J. was acquitted, Robert Kardashian's life was basically over. He became a social outcast, his career just vanished, and then, only a few years later, he died of cancer. But the story did not die with him. Years later, Robert's widow sold his private diaries to the media, and they had some absolutely shocking allegations. Maybe the most explosive was the claim that Robert didn't believe his daughter Khloe was biologically his. Some people even cooked up a theory that her real father was O.J. Simpson himself, a claim O.J. denied, by the way. But the resemblance, especially in older photos, has kept that speculation going for years. And that wasn't even all of it. According to these diaries, Kris was a manipulative and often cruel mother. The diaries claim she would leave the kids to meet her lover, that she taught them how to lie to cover for her, and that she disciplined them so harshly that they were just terrified of her. Now, the Kardashians have said the diaries are fake, but the level of detail in them has led a lot of people to believe they're real. So here she is, divorced, penniless. Kris Jenner had to pivot. She had 4 kids to support, and this unquenchable thirst for the spotlight. Her next project wasn't a business. It was a man. His name was Bruce Jenner. And I mean, Kris wasted zero time. Just 1 month after her divorce was final, she married the Olympic gold medalist Bruce Jenner. And as this slide shows, this was a full-on master plan. Step 1, the marriage. Now, Bruce was famous, sure, but he was also broke. So step 2, she starts to rebrand him. She poured everything into making him a motivational speaker, sending out 7,000 media kits. And it worked. With the money coming in again, she moved to the final step, pitching a reality show about their big, chaotic family. The speed of it all is just staggering. The story is, Kris pitched the idea for Keeping Up with the Kardashians to producer Ryan Seacrest, and get this, just 48 hours later, the show was greenlit. It seemed like the perfect way to get famous, but they needed a launch pad, something huge to make everyone tune in. And that brings us to what many people believe is the true original sin of the Kardashian empire. The one event that took them from a family nobody really knew to a household name, seemingly overnight.
So, was it just a coincidence? Right before the show's premiere, an intimate tape of Kim Kardashian and her boyfriend at the time, the singer Ray J, gets leaked to the public. Many people believe Kris saw how a similar scandal had shot Kim's old boss, Paris Hilton, to superstardom, and decided to just copy that strategy for her own daughter.
And look, this isn't just some fan theory floating around online. Ray J himself has said publicly that Kris Jenner orchestrated the entire leak from start to finish. Kim's ex-husband, Kanye West, also kind of confirmed this, saying Kris was the mastermind. The theory is that she didn't see the tape as a scandal. She saw it as the ultimate marketing tool. The show was a massive success, and the family became unimaginably wealthy. But as their fame got bigger, so did the theories about the dark connections holding their empire together. And this is where the story shifts from just savvy marketing to something much more ominous, an alleged web of control, pointing to some of the most powerful and controversial people in entertainment. This slide here, it maps out a pattern that has gotten intense scrutiny online. After all the serious allegations against Sean Diddy Combs came out, people started highlighting the really close ties between the Kardashian-Jenner women and men from Diddy's inner circle. From Tyga, who started dating Kylie when she was still a minor, to French Montana, to Kris's own long-term partner, Corey Gamble. The network is extensive. And the connection goes even deeper. Khloe herself admitted in an interview that she actually worked as a personal assistant for Diddy when she was only 15 years old. The family has been completely silent on the Diddy allegations, but their deep connections have led to a lot of public scrutiny and speculation.
Okay, so the theories get even more complex from here, leading us to a really unlikely place, a church. To get this next part, you have to know what a tax-exempt church is in the US. Basically, it's an organization that can get unlimited, untraceable donations, never has to say where the money came from, and pays zero taxes. So some allege it's a perfect vehicle for laundering money.
And that brings us to the church itself. Kris Jenner co-founded an organization called the California Community Church. And her business partner in this whole thing was Lou Taylor. Yes, the same controversial former business manager at the heart of the Britney Spears conservatorship. The theory alleges that this church isn't about religion at all, but that it's a financial tool, a way to move huge sums of money around without anyone looking, and maybe to pay people to stay quiet. And then you have this quote from Kanye West, which adds another chilling layer. He publicly claimed that Kris Jenner and Lou Taylor were plotting against him, trying to trap him in a situation just like what happened to Britney Spears, allegedly using powerful medications to control him. It paints this picture of a really powerful, manipulative partnership working behind the scenes. Allegations of control, like those from Kanye, force us to ask the main question behind all these theories. After 2 decades of constant exposure, brand deals, and billions of dollars, what was the actual human cost of building this empire? Well, according to these sources, the cost was immense. A story of children allegedly forced into the spotlight, of deep-seated insecurities that show up as endless plastic surgery. And right at the center of it all is their matriarch and manager, their momager, a term she actually trademarked, who takes a 10% cut of every single dollar they earn. It's a story of ambition at any cost. But as we've seen, these theories suggest a web of secrets, control, and dark connections that go way beyond what we see on our screens. And that leaves us with maybe the most unsettling thought of all, pulled directly from the source material. Maybe we don't even know half the truth.